you've got to have a clear and deep enough reason why and a vision attached to those habits for you to want to actually do them. I don't blame anyone else for the situation I'm in right now because I created it. I think it really comes down to making execution a habit and taking ownership for your own accountability.
What one key piece of advice would you like to give to everyone watching and listening today?
How can you share your gifts and your abilities with the world? And if you're not taking action on that right now, you're not just doing a disservice to yourself, but to everyone else on this planet.
Hello, and welcome to the Business Growth Show, where I interview successful entrepreneurs on all areas of business and how to utilize them for exponential growth. My name is Nathan Cassiotis. I'm a business growth expert, investor, and international speaker, where I help business owners grow and scale to create wealth and freedom. Today, I have an awesome guest. Her name is Holly Smith, and she is a high-performance coach as the author of 30 Days to Happiness and founder of the Happiness Formula. And Holly works with business owners to reach peak performance and execute their goals so they can live happier, healthier, and wealthier lives. And her purpose is to make happiness a choice through habits by creating a chain reaction. Welcome, Holly Smith, and thank you for being on the Business Growth Show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to have this conversation.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing, I'm sure, for everyone watching and listening today. And you are a successful entrepreneur. So for those people who don't know who you are, introduce yourself by telling us a little bit more about you and your journey.
Yeah, again, I'm the author of 30 Days to Happiness. It's the 30 habits that pulled me out of depression when I was in my teenage years. They pulled me out again at burnout. I got so burnt out in the real estate industry back in 2019 that I couldn't walk for 4 weeks. My whole body gave way. And then, yeah, it's the habits that I use like a first aid kit. So now that I've built the habit, these are happiness habits, I can pull them out anytime I want. As an example, I felt like I just needed time to think. And a few weeks ago, and I was like, okay, I feel like I need just a bit of clarity right now. Okay, well, I'm going to do a white space walk. So I'm just going to go out, go for a walk with no headphones, just listen. After it felt so much better. Felt like my authentic self all over again. So that was just an example of a habit that I pulled out from my first aid kit, like I say. So yeah, no, I was really depressed in my teenage years. I was a big horse rider, so my goal was to go to the Olympics for show jumping. I would also sell and train horses. I was a horse girl. And my whole purpose and identity was with riding horses. That was my life, that was my future, that was my present, that was my past, that is who I was and how, my identity was shaped. So something happened within my family. We moved to acreage, had to put one of my project horses down because he had something wrong with his back. And then I found out one of my horses, the other horse that I sold passed away. So I felt like just everything was just like stripped away from me, my purpose, my identity. And then got like super suicidal and just hated school, always hated school, would never go back. And yeah, anyway, I was super suicidal. And then I prayed to God one day and I was like, just take away this pain or I'm done. And yeah, anyway, I woke up the next day and I was completely healed of no suicidal thoughts. And he gave me this idea to write this book with 30 Days to Happiness. I wasn't ready to write it yet, so it took a few years of things happening in my life. I built my first business when I was 18. I built actually multiple businesses before then. I was just a typical entrepreneur. And yeah, I was in the real estate industry and then I launched my face-to-face personal training and then online, BizFit, my second business, and then 30 Days to Happiness after I wrote the book. So yeah, that's kind of like my journey.
Yeah, awesome, powerful story, and understanding how you had those really, really challenging times and how you come through that. And I love the first aid kit analogy there that you use, that you can pull it out and everything from there, which is very cool, which is awesome. And I know you're big, you're a high performance coach. You're big on obviously high performance habits and things like that that are important for us, right, in business. So firstly, let's talk about how you identify these. I think it's important, right, about like what habits are worth building, right? Like to actually have that high performance or whatever that we want in our life or business.
Yeah. And that's a really great question because a typical habit, like waking up at 5 a.m., may look like a high performance habit, but for others, it may not be a high performance habit. And I'll put that into perspective. Let's just say someone is like naturally just not a morning person. They never have been. They really love working like in the afternoon or into the night, and they've always been like that. Yes, I do believe you can train your mind and your body to do whatever you want and think the way that you want it to. But sometimes part of the routine is our personality, right? We know our personality becomes our reality when we shape our identity and all of that. But I think you need to choose the kind of lifestyle that you want, because that will then determine your routine and then determine your personality and how you're going to show up every day. So you need to think, okay, what are the goals that I want to achieve? I'd like to look at the 10-year vision, the 5-year vision. Some people can't think that far because maybe they've been working in the business every single day for so long that they forgot to look at their vision, or they haven't been taught how. So looking at a bigger picture and writing a list of everything that you want 10 years from now. Like, what do you want your life to look like? How do you want to feel? How do you want to look? What do you want your business to be doing? And then you ask yourself, like, how would that person show up today? And what habits do I then need to implement? There's so many habits someone can implement, but I think stemming from that question, then we can start implementing the right habits to suit you.
Yeah, I love that. So powerful. The big vision, which is always so important, and then working backwards, right? Like anything in business there. And let's talk a bit more about, I guess, some habits for you, right? So what are some key habits that have been, I guess, the most impactful for yourself, for your success?
Yeah. So, like I've got a system, it's called like the 1 hour workday. And pretty much I turned my long entrepreneur hustle days into 1 to 2 hours a day when I had my daughter. I have a 15-month-old, she's a toddler now, but at the time I scaled my business like to the next level when she was 4 weeks old. I was sleep deprived, exhausted, didn't know what I was doing because I was just like disoriented all the time. But I had to take a step back and think, okay, what are the habits that I know? What are the foundational habits that are going to change everything for me, and stick to them? Okay, wake up time. Try your best to wake up at the same time every single day. Your body is a clock. If you wake up at the same time every day, you're going to start waking up with energy, and soon you'll start waking up without your alarm. So, that's a positive. And then I like to switch your nighttime routine. Have you a good morning routine and a nighttime routine? I like the start and the end to a really beautiful timeline of a day. So with a nighttime routine, try and half an hour before you go to bed, start your routine, because routine, right, is I guess the starting point to building a really good habit. If we use, the habit loop that James Clear talks about all the time, you've got your cue, your routine, and your reward. So if you want to create a really good nighttime routine, try and stay away from your phone, or TV, at least half an hour. Some people say 2 hours, some people say an hour. But if you're someone who watches TV and is on your phone every night, 2 hours of no technology before bed is going to be a bit of a push. So let's just start with being a bit more realistic. Half an hour before you go to bed, you want to, maybe some people set an alarm because they get lost and keep reading or keep watching TV. And then you're wanting to, start your routine. Mine for me is turning off the TV if we're watching an episode or playing a game or doing something, spending quality time with my husband. I'll brush my teeth, get into bed, read, right? That's almost like my cue. So I've been reading for 5 years, half an hour before I go to bed, like every single night. When I don't read, because I've trained my body to associate that as the trigger to go to sleep, I don't sleep as well and I don't get to sleep as fast, unless I'm really zonked. So I've trained myself to do that. And then I read chapter and I go to sleep. That's my routine, and that's what gets me to bed on time, and I wake up with energy every single day because of it, and I have a great sleep. So starting your morning routine, I know we talked about earlier today when we chatted about eating the frog first. I love having a really beautiful high performance morning routine because it does set you up for the rest of the day. I usually, one of my favorite high performance habits is visualizing your day before you even get out of bed. So I'll lay there, and yes, you can think of things you're grateful for and this and that. Sometimes I say affirmations or a prayer. But what has been the biggest game changer for me and even all my clients is before you even get out of bed, when you're still kind of in that theta state where you're closing your eyes, you take some deep breaths and you visualize what every hour of the day looks like, how you want to act, what you want to happen. Every time you do that, your day will more likely, and definitely, I can guarantee it, will be better than if you don't do that. So that's another high performance habit. I could talk about this all day long. So probably if you start with your morning routine and your nighttime routine and build something that works for you, and getting started on your most important task straight away, or doing something for yourself that will increase your vibration and actually your performance throughout the day.
Yeah, love that. Amazing, amazing points there. And I agree. I think, having those routines are so important. And I think for me as well, I love to hear your take on it, is also to be able to recharge during the day, right? Because sometimes you're busy, you got a lot of stuff going on. Like for me, I'll go for a walk outside and ground on the grass, or do some breathing, go for a walk, something like that, where it allows me to refresh myself depending on what I've got going on. So, what are some of the habits or routines or things that I guess you do, or you can recommend for people around that side of things if they've got a lot going on and they need to, get back into
Yeah.
what they're doing?
Yeah, so first thing that comes to mind is sticking to the 3 MIT rule. I talk about this like probably too much, but everyone knows it now. The 3 MIT rule, the 3 most important tasks. Don't pick any more than 3. These things should take you no longer than 3 hours to complete. I like to do 1 hour per task. It takes you longer than pick one task. If you have any more than 3, it becomes more of a to-do list, and then you don't get it done, and we only become unhappy when we don't meet our own expectations, and then we procrastinate and it gets pushed down to the to-do list and it never gets done. And it's just a big chain reaction. So sticking to 3 most important tasks throughout the day, game changer. Then what you want to do is look at the day, look at your calendar and kind of figure out what times of the day you are most productive. Now, you might need to do a time audit or an energy audit. So that means tracking what you're doing every 30 minutes, literally every 30 minutes for a whole entire day, to see what tasks you're actually working on. And then you can see, oh, I procrastinated here, I worked on this here, I got called into a meeting here and someone knocked on my office door and then I got distracted here. You're able to then see what the biggest challenges are within your routine, and then you can start implementing everything else around it. So that's why I like to stick to your 3 MIT rule. Put it in your most productive hours. So you like to do an energy audit so you can track your energy throughout the day. I really love lunchtime walks. I think they're really beneficial. Getting out, grounded, walk around bare feet, go for a walk, get some sunlight first thing in the morning. Obviously increases your dopamine, your serotonin, and you feel heaps better with exercise. So I know that's a big high performance habit that you can implement, but obviously having a drink bottle next to you at all times helps as well. They're just like really simple things, but you've just got to think about the things that you need to work on at the moment. Like if you know you're dehydrated and you're in an air-conned office all day and you need to drink more water, then what can we do to help you drink more water? Have a drink bottle next to you all the time. After every meeting, make it a habit to have a sip of water, or set an alarm on your phone. If you are a negative person and want to be more happy, first thing in the morning, you need to do something that raises your vibration, makes you happier. Maybe set alarms on your phone or put affirmations up on the wall so you're reading them out loud, reconstructing the way your brain thinks. So there's so many things you can do, but you've got to pick up what are your biggest challenges at the moment? What do you want to see change in your life? What does that look like when it comes to consistent habits?
Yeah, I love that. And from what I see with a lot of entrepreneurs out there, some of them can, be, I guess, visionaries or be a little bit all over the place, right, with what they're doing and not being as structured. In this time audit, energy audit, right? Because some of them might be like, oh, I forgot to do it or whatever like that, right? I see you laughing because you probably deal with people like this. Is it just having discipline and putting it just something into like a spreadsheet, or are there maybe some tools or something out there, some software that can help, I guess, with this process for the ones that are taking some time to build the habit?
Yeah, totally. So I suggest if you wanted to do a time audit, if I ever start working with someone who's really just not organized and wants to create a really beautiful high performance routine, I would get them to do a time audit so I can see what tasks they're working on in and out of the business and where they're spending their time, where they're procrastinating, and then we put it together. So in the happiness formula in my course, we actually have it's honestly, it's just a Google, I think it's a spreadsheet, and it's got like the times and you just put next to it, you can print it out, but honestly, just paper and pen. Just have it throughout the day. You want to make it as easy as possible. That's probably my biggest advice. How can you make your habit so easy that you're not going to fail? Example, someone wants to start running. You're not going to go, I wouldn't suggest you drive half an hour to the beach and then you get out your car and then you go for a 10K run when you hate running and then you drive home. I can guarantee you'll wake up and go, oh, it's all too much. I'll just do something else or I won't do anything at all. And then it will never happen. So think about how can you make it as easy and friction-free as possible to implement your new habit.
Yeah, love that. So important. Yes, even just some people just say just starting with one page of reading in a book, right? You don't have to read a whole chapter.
Yeah.
It's whatever those little baby steps are. Go for a few minute walk. Whatever that is, right? And then you can build it up over time. So I love all that area. And what do you think about tracking habits as well? Because I think this is important too. Like one thing's are routines, but I guess if you're wanting to build a habit or build something in and seeing how if you want to improve it, like going for
Yeah.
those longer walks or whatever that is for you, what are your thoughts around that and how to do that? Yeah.
Yeah, we have a really good tracking system where we have all our monthly priorities, our weekly habit tracker, and then a reflection process. The reflection process is where you make changes. So if you think about maybe 3 habits that you want to implement in the next 30 days, yes, they say it takes 30 days to build a habit. I think that's actually just the surface level foundation. I truly believe it takes like 90 days to 6 months to really reconstruct your habits and your mind and the way you think and your belief system around them. So, um, don't look at it as I'm going to go hard for 30 days straight. Look at it as a long-term game and what it's going to do for you. Then it takes the pressure off because when we get attached to an outcome and we don't meet our own expectations, we just become unhappy or we give it away or it all gets too hard, right? So yeah, my suggestion is that if you pick 3 habits, if you pick any more than 3, it becomes a little bit overwhelming if they're quite big habits. So 3 habits you want to build, which are new, might be start exercising or going for your walks. It might be drinking X amount of water per day, or it might be working on an hour of follow-up for a money-making activity or outreach, right? And you have a habit tracker. I'm a big fan of tracking it every day, but if there's no accountability involved with the tracking, then there's no reason to track. I mean, there's no reason to get up in the morning and go for a run for absolutely no reason. It's the same with anything else. What's the point of doing 30 outreach a day if there's no reason to, right? So it's the same with your habits. You've got to have a deep reason why you want to achieve this habit, right? Look at the long-term goal to keep you motivated, but tracking it on a daily basis and then reassessing with questions like, okay, what did I get done this week? What worked? What I didn't get done this week? What didn't work? And then the question is, what can I change this week? Instead of, you might want to improve the habit because you might want to increase the habit, like go for a 3K walk instead of a 2K walk because you absolutely smashed your week. It might be the opposite. Okay, this was just too much. Let's scale back. So then the weekly reflection process, having an accountability partner or a group like we have, gives you a reason to track your habits and reset and reflect every week.
Yeah, awesome, amazing points there. And it makes me think as well about how, when you do something over a period of time, it also becomes easier, right? Because you become better at it, become more confident and competent in doing that. So it might be harder at the start, like in those first 30 days, but then as you do it over time, it becomes more natural and just easier. And then you love it. And one key word you use there, which I love talking about, we talked a bit about earlier as well today, is around mindset, right? Around it, which I think is really important because some people can have excuses or, things that hold them back. So what do you think from a mindset perspective that people need to know or how they can enhance themselves, to really achieve and create those habits or whatever it is that they want to achieve and be successful?
Yeah, I think again, like, I mean, this is probably just overshared all over the internet and podcasts and YouTube, but it's the truth. It's you've got to have a clear and deep enough reason why and a vision attached to those habits for you to want to actually do them. So getting like we've again talked about this a little bit like in earlier today, and I think it's looking at your 10-year vision. Like, where do you want to be in 10 years from now? Like, and really, really understanding of what that identity looks like. But then asking yourself, like, why am I not living that now? What's getting in my way? And it might be, again, limiting beliefs. It might be like things that you think you should do, have to do, could do. But what about the things that you want to do? I love that list, like those 4 key questions. And I think if you do that, it'll become very clear to where your mindset is at when it comes to your to-do list, your daily routine, your habits. And then you ask yourself, okay, well, is this anything like the vision that I have for my life? Like even just recently creating a want list and just, I do it all the time, but just really sitting down and thinking about what are all those things I really want right now? And is there a reason why I thought I had to take 10 years to achieve this? Why can't I do it now? And I think when you think that way with no limit and no expectation of a specific outcome on a specific deadline. Now, this is not to do with accountability or discipline, that's different. But I'm also like the really big vision things. If you want to write that book, if you want to put on that event, if you want to launch that business, if you want to fit into those jeans or you want to look a certain way, then the question is like, why can't you do that now?
Yeah.
That's what I was.
I love that. It's so true and makes me think about quantum physics, where you can compress time. It doesn't need to take 1 year, 10 years, necessarily to achieve something. When you have that vision, you're believing in it now, right? And all of those elements that you were talking about, then you can make it happen sooner, but it doesn't matter necessarily connected to that. And um,
Yeah.
let's talk about, I guess, the execution here, right? Because I think this is a big part, right, of actually making things happen. Is there any specific, I guess, strategies? Because like motivation can go down, right? And I don't like the word motivation, but people can things
Mm,
can happen, right? In a day or week, whenever. So
yeah.
what are your thoughts around that to make sure that we can keep on track and continue to execute to achieve what we want to achieve? Yeah.
So obviously, discipline, accountability, execution are kind of like all linked in the same circle. So the first thing is like the first question I'd ask is, okay, do you have anyone to hold you accountable? Do you have a group or are you holding yourself accountable right now? Because accountability is about ownership. If you want to complain about your day or why your alarm, you didn't wake up on time because your alarm didn't go off, or oh, you didn't meet your weekly priorities because of this, that mindset needs to take a step aside and you need to remove all the emotion attached to that and just strictly understand that you need to take ownership over everything that you do. Yes, some things are out of our control, but you have complete ownership of the way that you perceive and think about these situations. So when it comes to execution, knowing that now you are full in control of the way you show up every single day and if you choose to execute on those priorities. But if we put it into a practical format, end of day reports are great. If you can do an end of day report at the end of every single day, like I have my VA send me end of day reports, my clients send me end of day reports, like it's a huge, it's a great way. It's a great way to establish a habit when it comes to keeping yourself accountable and looking back, did I execute, did I not, and why? So questions you can ask yourself, I try and do at the same time every day, is what went well today? What didn't go so well, just to kind of get it out there, brain dump it all out. What can I do better tomorrow? How can I help someone? Get yourself out of your own head, thinking it's all about you when you're really here to serve. What are my three MITs for tomorrow? Like, what are the three things that if you achieve, the ball moves forward? And you can add whatever other questions you want as well. So end of day reports are really great. Weekly priorities and doing the reflection process we talked about earlier and having like a group where you get together or even a partner where you do email or Zoom, jump on a Zoom every week for accountability and think, okay, well, what are my priorities this week? What didn't get done? Why not? But when it comes to actually executing what's on the plan, like obviously having a plan helps, planning your weeks, your quarters efficiently, all linked to your values and your purpose. But the execution side of things has to come from a place of want and not just of need. Because if you think you need something, then we become attached to it. And I feel like when you want something, it's because you want it and you have a desire. So asking yourself, like, okay, well, how can I make the execution process easier than ever before? If you procrastinate, go to a cafe where your favorite coffee is and go sit at the beach and do your MIT or do your money making activity there. Like, how can you make it so enjoyable that you're actually going to execute? You could use a risk versus reward system. What are you going to do after you finish your money making activity or after you go to the gym? What are you not going to do if you don't get it done? So there's so many things you can implement, but yeah, I think it really comes down to making execution a habit and taking ownership for your own accountability.
Yeah, I love that. There's no room for excuses, right? We all control it ourselves, our own decisions and everything there. So love that. Really, really powerful. Let's talk about coaching and mentoring now, because we're both coaches, here, and I think it's been massive on my life, in my personal development and helping me to achieve things and grow. I'd love to hear it from your perspective on the impact of coaches and mentoring's been for you and your success.
Yeah, honestly, my first mastermind I ever joined, and I'm still really good friends with a lot of people who are in it, and also the coaches that have moved on and whatnot. It was when I was, I think I was 18, maybe just turned 19. I can't remember, but anyway, and it was to launch my online fitness business. I had heard about it, but I had no clue what online personal training was. I was like, what is this? And I booked a sales call, not knowing what the heck I was like signing up for. And this guy, his name was Marco, and he literally asked me all these questions. And then I was like, how does online personal training even work? And then he's like, goes on to explain. I'm like, oh, so you deliver it all online? I was like, obviously. Anyway, but I was like, okay, what's the price? Thinking I was like 18, 19. He's like, $2,000 a month, and you're locked in for 36 months. I was like, oh, no, thanks. So he called me back randomly a week later because he dug into my pain points. And the main pain point was, do you really want to be knocking on the doors at 4 a.m. of other people's? Because I was doing face-to-face PT, driving to people's houses and knocking on their doors at 4 o'clock in the morning in the middle of winter, exhausted, burnt out, and tired. He's like, do you seriously want to keep doing this? And I was like, no, I don't. Anyway, I just prayed that I was going to afford this every single month for like a 19-year-old girl. I'm still living at home, thank goodness. And I somehow did. I made all my money back. I set the foundation. I actually grew to 65K followers and connections on LinkedIn within 12 months. And I had a beautiful foundation for my business and my personal brand. Um, so I guess mentoring and having someone there, like, and then I met other people along the way. I met Christian, who's a really good friend and mentor of mine, and he helped me launch my book. And you just meet people through your journey, but know that you don't meet people for no reason. You meet people at the right time when you really need them.
Yeah, I love that. Completely agree. With so many different coaches and mentors of mine, here in Australia as well as overseas, and helped me at
Yeah.
different stages of my journey. And yeah, I love you said people come into your life for a reason. You just have to be aware, right, of that time when they come in, going, hey, wait a minute, this is a sign or something here. How can I use this? Like, how can we work together or do something here? Or what is this telling me that this person's in my life? Being aware of that. So yeah,
Mm.
love that. Really, really powerful. So, let's talk a bit about your podcast as well as like it's called the 30 Days to Happiness, right? Which is very cool as well as your book. But I know you asked me this question. I'd love to hear it from your perspective now. Is what's your definition of happiness? And I guess how can we
Love
get
that.
there as well?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love that. So look, my definition of happiness used to be like it's actually in my book because I wrote it a few years ago now. But my definition of happiness used to be if I won the lotto tomorrow, I wouldn't be any happier than I am right now. Now, because I've done a lot of work, I know that that definition came from my belief system growing up with a dad telling me if I didn't make money, I didn't work hard, I wasn't going to be happy. He told me that almost every single day. So it was drilled into my brain that happiness stemmed from working hard and making money. So what did I do growing up? I worked hard, I made money. But when I wasn't making money, I wasn't happy because I was so attached to that belief. So that became my definition, right? And I truly believe that if I won the lotto tomorrow, I would be happy for a short period of time because I could probably do some stuff, but not, I wouldn't change my life drastically because I'm living the happy life that I created. So my definition is a long definition short. I always do this. My definition now is I get to wake up every morning and I choose to be happy. Like it's actually that short and that simple that I don't blame anyone else for the situation I'm in right now because I created it. My thoughts, my beliefs, where I'm living, who I am, it's because of me and my decisions. So taking ownership is really, to me, why I built the happiness formula's accountability program, to being happy, holding yourself accountable to building the life that you created or you choose to create moving forward. And that's very much, my definition is linked to my purpose, which is then creating a chain reaction, because that's what it's all about. But yeah.
Awesome. I love that. Yeah, really, really powerful. And it's so interesting when we look back in hindsight, right? Of like where we were and then where we've come from. Because a lot of people don't realize this, right? Like, because you just think you build some things over time, and I'm sure there's a lot of gold, right, that comes out of that. I don't know. Do you do any things like that, right? Where you just, I guess, make people aware of actually some things that they may be not that good in, but there's some things that they're really good at. They don't even realize, right? That's part of what they are, and how to, I guess, that all encompasses what they do as well.
Yeah, all part of their gifts and abilities. I truly believe everyone has their own belief around this, but I actually believe that every single person or soul on this planet is like there's a gift inside you. Because if everyone had the same gifts, I mean, if everyone was an entrepreneur, there would be no truck drivers, no people delivering and dropping things off for us. There would be no people working in the supermarket, right? So I think everyone's got their own unique ability to do things better than others. And that's what makes the world so awesome. And we're so grateful to have such a variety of gifts and talents. But I like to take people through a purpose workshop where they literally ask themselves a list of like kind of questions, and they're all in specific orders. And by the end of it, you know your gifts, you know your talents, you are aware of your abilities and your character traits and like who makes you who you are. And then you figure out a way, what now that I know this, what can I do with it? What's the next step? And I actually truly believe if you follow that process and you actually take action on what can I do with that, you will always be happy because you are acting on your highest good, your highest gifts, who you are authentically, and you can't not be unhappy unless something short term comes into your life and drastically changes it, like a loved one passes away. Of course you're going to be unhappy, right? You can't be happy all the time. But if you are acting on what you want in life and what brings you the most joy, generally it's related to your gifts.
Yeah, I love that. One thing that just came up for me that I love to hear your perspective on is around, like, when you're doing something, the comparison side of things, right? Because it might be like, oh, I went for a nice walk for 5 minutes today, and someone else does a half an hour walk, someone does an hour walk, or they're doing all these other things that may be more than that, and how to not have that, I guess, because it can hold us back, from what we are doing. So I'd love to know your thoughts around, comparison side of things as well.
Yeah, like comparing your habits to other people's habits.
Yeah.
Yeah. So look, if Johnny next door is running a marathon and you're like, oh, he looks fit and he's got six pack and abs and like he's got a great relationship with his wife and blah blah blah. You're like, I'm gonna run a marathon because I want to be like Johnny. Start running a marathon, but really you hate running. You love lifting weights. You absolutely just not a runner, maybe because you're not run fit and it's not your thing. You try and be like Johnny. You wake up, you go for a run, and then you fall off the wagon, and then you get disappointed. But really, what you could have done is got the same result. You could get a six pack and abs and have a healthy relationship with his wife, this person, I don't know his name, just making it up. um, if he chose to act on what he actually enjoyed doing. So I use the fitness example as why would you go for a run if you hate running? Do something you enjoy. Go for a walk. Go for walks on the beach and actually, talk to your partner and build a relationship. Go do Pilates classes, go do fitness classes, like go lift weights. I love lifting weights from a bodybuilding background. Like I love the gym. I love the gym environment. I love the motivation and the inspiration and the everything it provides, right? The accountability almost. When I look at everybody else who are really fit and lifting and squatting really heavy weights, that motivates me to want to do that in a good way. See, I think there's a difference between negative and positive motivation. And again, motivation, I try really not to say that word, but I've said it a lot in this podcast so far. But I think you've got to create your own motivation and you've got to understand what the difference is between positive and negative motivation. So positive motivation to me is, well, this chick can squat 100 kilos. I want to be able to do that. Because how cool is that, right? I want to be that strong to be able to do that. But a negative one would be, oh, I don't look like her. Oh, I wish I had a body like hers. Why can't I? Like, that's the difference, right? You're working hard because you want to look like someone else when we're all uniquely different. Positive motivation is I want to achieve something because I want to be my best self. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's the way I look at it anyway.
Yeah, no, I love that. Really, really amazing points there. And yeah, use it to bring you forward, not to hold you back, right? In those areas there. Um, one thing you mentioned earlier was around when you're building your business, you talked about LinkedIn, building your personal brand, which I love talking about. And you've actually got quite a big following, right? On there as well on LinkedIn. So well done with that as well. And I guess for the business owners out there that might be wanting to try and, build a similar type of following, what do you think was
Yep.
key for you to, I guess, make that happen?
Yeah, well, obviously, like LinkedIn 7 years ago was completely different to what it is now. I think I was one of the first fitness influencers on LinkedIn at the time. The word influencer was like, what? Influencer on LinkedIn? What? But now, there's influencers everywhere, right? And I think my personal brand was like, pretty out there. I had long bleach blonde hair, drive to BMW, lived on the Gold Coast, right? And I was an online PT, worked with busy individuals, right, to put themselves first. And that was like my whole brand. And what I did was I posted a video every single day on LinkedIn, no matter what I looked like, no matter if I had makeup on, if I was tired, what I felt like. And I just made a commitment to myself that I was going to show up every single day on LinkedIn and do a video, not a text post, not just a photo post. Now I hardly post videos. I post a video 1 day a week. But because the algorithm changes, obviously. But videos that honestly built so many relationships because people could see my authenticity. They could see who I was. They could see how I talked. They could relate to me, right? It's like you and me talking now compared to if you read an email from me, you're more likely to feel my energy, connect with me through video, right? So I think honestly, that was like the first step. The second step was having an amazing offer. You've got to have a good offer. If you're not putting out offers on a daily basis and you aren't aware of your niche's biggest issues and challenges and what is it that they lay in bed at night stressing about, if you don't know that, then the offer isn't going to be strong enough. You need to get a really clear offer. And then just be consistent with talking and outreach and connecting with people and actually engaging. Like, thankfully enough, I've had VAs for years now who do most of this stuff for me because it takes a lot of work. I'll be honest. If you want to build a following, it takes so much work. You've got to engage. You've got to connect with like at least 30 people a day. You've got to have conversations. You've got to post consistently. But I'll finish by saying that LinkedIn is a goldmine if you know how to use it.
Yeah, I love that. So, so powerful and so true, right? About doing the work, but also delegating and getting the VAs or the other people around you, right? To help you on that journey and just committing to yourself and then committing to, yeah, really doing the actions that need to happen, right? Along that journey. So, love that. Really, really powerful. And yeah, you've shared so much gold with us today, Holly, as well. And I guess as we're starting to wrap up, what one key piece of advice would you like to give to everyone watching and listening today?
Mm. I would honestly just, what is something that you've been putting off for a long time or something that you want that people have told you that you can't have in the past or you think you like don't deserve it or you're making excuses for yourself like, oh, I shouldn't want this because of this, right? Being a mother, for example, took me like a few months to really get my mojo back and understand that I can still speak, I can still write books, I can still be the coach and the entrepreneur I am with a baby. Like nothing is stopping me but myself. And it's not until you realize that you are getting in your own way every single day by not taking action on that thing you actually really want to do, but you're not doing anything with. It's not just like, I guess, making you not living up to your own expectation or your full potential, which you know you can, but you're not serving the rest of the world, right? We're all here to serve. If it's people, if it's humanity, if it's animals, whatever. You're here to serve. Like, let's just be honest. We're not here for no reason. And having a purpose around that and knowing how can you share your gifts and your abilities with the world. And if you're not taking action on that right now, you're not just doing a disservice to yourself, but to everyone else on this planet. People need to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, so powerful. Love that. Thank you for sharing all of that as well. And yeah, we connected to our networks. We learned about your awesome journey from being in sales and training and PT to now being the author and coach. With 30 Days to Happiness. Amazing woman, so knowledgeable, and shared so much gold with us here today. I'm sure you continue to help business owners to reach peak performance and execute their goals so they can live happier, healthier and wealthier lives. Very grateful we connected. Look forward to connecting further with you. So, Holly, how can people find you and get in contact with you?
So you can follow me on LinkedIn as Holly Smith, or as Instagram as Holly_Smith00. My company, 30 Days to Happiness, 30days to happiness.com.au. Same again on Instagram and TikTok. So there's heaps of freebies on there, daily motivation, inspiration. But yeah, if there's anything that stood out to you, then I'd love to connect with you on LinkedIn and have a conversation.
Yeah, awesome stuff. Definitely connect with Holly there, LinkedIn, Instagram, 30 Days to Happiness as well, with the website and everything that's part of it. And to take your yourself to that next level in your life and business, which is awesome. So it's been a pleasure interviewing you, Holly, and thank you for being on the Business Growth Show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for watching and listening to the Business Growth Show, where we talk about everything on business growth. And please like, subscribe, and leave us a 5-star review. You can find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube as Ethan Casiotis, or visit my website, ethancasiotis.com. And if you want to grow and scale your business, you can reach out to me on any platform to see if we're a good fit. So until next time, remember that our business grows where we learn skills and take action using them in spite of fear. So let's create wealth and freedom together.